In today's episode of Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we feature a song requested from a faithful listener, and it is a perfect pop song.
We discuss the vibrato and growls of Belinda Carlisle.
And we discuss a video that kind of creeps us out with repo men holding glowing globes of earth.
This is our discussion on Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle.
Sometimes people ask us, where do you come up with all these songs? Because you've done so many episodes.
Who are these people?
Frank, I'm trying to make an opener that no one's ever asked us, but it seemed like a really good start. Thank you for just pouring water all over the fires of my passionate beginning.
Yeah, because let's be honest, you usually ask me what song we're going to do, and I ask you what song we're going to do. So no one actually comes to us except for ourselves.
That's true. But there was at least one or two family dinners where my family said, how do you come up with all these songs? I'm like, and then I didn't really have a good answer, but I do have a good one today.
Okay.
All right, so the answer is this. You and I come up with them. We just think of songs we really liked from that era. And sometimes we go back and think of songs that maybe you would get made fun of for liking in the late 90s, where we were still celebrating these songs.
Yeah.
And so we thought it would be a great idea to bring this to the world. However, there is another way that we find songs. We get requests from our listeners.
I like that you pluralized listeners, which implies that we have more than one.
Oh, you have little faith. So we do have a request here from our good friend Heather Taylor. And she wrote the following. Hi, Bill and Frank, my favorite podcast hosts.
She's very kind. I actually know Heather pretty well. So
right.
She's never said kind things to me like that in person, but behind a keyboard, I guess she's a little bit more generous.
Okay. Keyboard kinder.
Yes.
Not keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually it was hi, Bill and Frank, or Frank and Bill. So she did reverse it. I didn't appreciate that. But anyways, she said, can you add Belinda Carlisle's Heaven is a Place on Earth to your list? I've loved this song since I was a child, and my 6-year-old daughter was just singing along to it in the car. I'd love to know more about it. And Heather, this one's for you.
What I'm excited about is to basically read the Wikipedia page to Heather for this episode. All you need to know about the song is on the internets, on the Wikipedias.
Oh, wrong, Frank. I have done some deep research. I have been inspired because when someone sends us a request and says, I'd love to know more about it, I need to dig deep. I need to listen to that album Belinda Carlisle made a few years ago with The Chance.
Oh, right.
I went all through everything. Watched every single documentary I could, interviews, found out more than I should about the Go-Go's and Belinda Carlisle.
What do you mean you learned more than you should?
Well, it's all the drug stuff. I don't want to know that.
That's true, yeah.
I felt kind of bad.
It's really interesting because I would have been introduced to Belinda Carlisle before I really knew about the Go-Go's.
Right.
87 was when this song came out, and 85 was their first solo album, right?
Right.
So kind of getting into pop music at that time. I find it difficult to reconcile her past to her voice. She has a very kind of clean sounding voice. I had no idea her history with punk music and all of that. It just doesn't really make sense to me, but it is super interesting.
It totally is. And it is pretty fascinating that she is still alive, still around.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Yes.
And her voice sounds good.
It does. You played some of that album for me here.
Yeah.
Voice still sounds really clean.
Yeah. So she actually wrote an autobiography. I think it's called My Lips Are Sealed or Lips Unsealed.
Yeah.
Something like that. And she talks really openly about drug use and everything that went on. Anyway, she's all clean now, and so it just was a fascinating sort of backstory. So for Belinda Carlisle, she grows up in poverty in a really dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
I know her parents, things were not great. And just looking back on her life, like she talked about her own sort of trauma of dealing with her father in particular, and then also stepfather. But she ends up heading off to California when she's, I think maybe 18, 19? Is that right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if she dropped out of beauty school. I heard that. I wasn't sure that.
Yeah, she was a beauty school dropout.
Okay, so it wasn't a snarky comment. So
no.
She'd done high school, beauty school, dropped out, went to California, but then was like living in communes and sort of squats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and got involved in the punk scene. So she goes from being a cheerleader in high school to like punk rocker. And she was temporarily a drummer for the Germs?
For the Germs, yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, and one is because she doesn't know how to drum, which she said in one of these interviews, like, oh, I don't want to drum. That sounds like too much work. But because it's punk rock, you just have to have the aesthetic. The learning comes afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And what's also crazy is she was in the Germs for maybe a month, but then she got mono.
Which you get from Germs.
Germs.
There it is. So I think it was actually less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was how long she was in the Germs.
Oh, okay.
But there's a recording of her actually introducing them at a concert or something after she's kind of made it big. But after she recovers from mono, had to go back home, which sounds like it would have been horrible.
Yes.
Comes back and ends up making more connections and friends with another group of girls who become the Misfits.
Yes.
But they have to change that name because there's already a Misfits, the Danzig band.
Yeah.
And then they change a couple members, and then they end up with the Go-Go's, which they got from the Smokey Robinson song, Dancing to a Go-Go, or Want to Go to a Go-Go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that one.
There you go.
That's cool.
There you go, Heather. Deep research.
Deep research. Yeah, and the Go-Go's were an incredibly influential band in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah.
So they kind of had a little bit of a punk aesthetic, but they were kind of more new wave than anything.
And they end up being super popular. So they end up being seen by the punk community kind of as sellouts, but not totally, because they still kept their attitude. Mm-hmm. But they made such perfect pop for that Beauty and the Beat album, which goes to #1 in the US on the album charts. Hits #1.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I think a girl group ever did that. And it's also a group who's signed to IRS, which is the REM label, which is kind of like an indie label.
Yeah.
And so it's an incredible story.
Yeah, and to go further with their sort of ties to punk, they're largely untrained musicians. So they kind of just grabbed the instruments and figured it out, made it up as they went along. Sorry, I shouldn't say made it up as they went along, but they figured it out.
They did.
Like kind of the way the Sex Pistols did, except it sounds like the Go-Go's have a little bit more talent than the Sex Pistols did.
They certainly sound like they have a lot more musical chops. Maybe I'm just being hard on Johnny Rotten and the other guy, Sid Vicious. Was he really in it much? I don't know much about the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, apparently Sid Vicious was really there more for the attitude.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, not Belinda Carlisle, who ended up being the singer because she didn't want to drum.
Yeah.
And it turns out her voice is really distinctive.
It is. And we'll talk about it when we talk about this song. But there's a couple of really cool things that are not necessarily unique with her voice, but really cool things that she does with her voice when she sings.
Yeah. So the Go-Go's get, I think, 2 albums, maybe 3, and they burn out pretty quickly.
Yeah. So they had
Beauty and the Beat.
Beauty and the Beat. After Beauty and the Beat, they had 2 more albums, Vacation and Talk Show.
Right. There's some good tunes on both of them. At least a single, Vacation and Head Over Heels.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But interpersonal conflicts, or I guess personal conflicts, or just conflicts, they all mean the same thing, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Either way, interpersonal conflicts and drug use get in the way of their sort of cohesiveness, and they split up in 1985, I think. And she immediately gets working on her debut album.
Her debut album, Belinda, came out in 86.
Right. So she was already kind of done there and working away on her next project.
Yeah.
Of the Go-Go's, she ends up releasing 2 big albums and then a third, and then it kind of fizzles out in terms of popularity. Mm-hmm. And the Go-Go's do get back together in the late 90s. They released another album in 2001.
That's right, yes.
And I think they performed right up until 2016 was their like kind of farewell tour or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It is nice to see that they kind of came back together, and the Go-Go's kind of became her main thing later on. Although everyone loves the song we're doing today.
Yeah. Well, it went to number 1.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgot about.
And I think it happened pretty quick.
With that first album, she had Mad About You, which is an awesome song.
Yeah.
And that went to number 3 in the States. And then Belinda Carlisle had a bunch of songs on different movie soundtracks as well. So she had a song on Mannequin, in Out of Bounds, and in Whoopi Goldberg's vehicle Burglar in 87.
Oh, man, I forgot Burglar. I remember Mannequin because I watched it.
Yeah, oh yeah, so did I.
Yeah. For our research.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then 87 comes around, and that's when Heaven on Earth is released. So that's the album that Heaven is a Place on Earth comes off of. But that also had some bonkers great songs. I Get Weak, Circle in the Sand. It's a great album.
It's a really good album. It sounds still powerful. Mm-hmm. It sounds, and this has been said before, it sounds really, really expensive.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they've went and threw all their money into it.
Yeah, because this was the album that they really went after the production values on it.
Right. She's not with RRS for this album. She's with RRS for the previous one with Mad About You on it.
Yeah.
But this one is...
She's with Virgin.
Right. They got everything. I mean, in this song itself, for backup singers, you have Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. You have Diane Warren.
Yep.
And on the album, you have Wilson Phillips actually in there. All members of Wilson Phillips, I think, are listed as singers.
Oh, really?
On it, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And also you have Thomas Dolby playing keyboards on this song.
Right. And could he see anything?
No, he was blinded by science.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. I'm just looking at the album. So I'm going to count the number of musicians involved here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to stop counting, but it looks like it's about 20. And I was right. Yeah, it's like China Phillips, Michelle Phillips, Carney Wilson. I don't think we have the other Wilson. So we have 2/3 of Wilson Phillips in there. It's incredible. It's an incredible list. And so I see names like Kenny Aronoff, who played for like a ton of people, and people I've seen on a lot of the albums we've done for this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, Diane Warren's involved in it, which is bonkers too.
Right. She wrote I Get Weak.
Yeah.
And so this one, though, the writing of this one was done by the producer, Rick Knowles, and Ellen Shipley. Now, Ellen Shipley was a recording artist in like the early 80s.
She was with Sony, I think, right? Because I think she was discovered by Tommy Mottola.
She was, that's right. So she was the early Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's talked about the industry as being gross.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. And so even the stories she's giving while I'm like reading up on her, I was just feeling for all the women who've had to try to make it. And Belinda Carlisle's one I was thinking of. I was watching some Dave Letterman interviews with her, and all he seemed to want to talk to her about is how pretty she was.
Yeah.
And it just was really uncomfortable. It was kind of funny and then not funny. Then I realized it never was funny. He just kept talking about how beautiful she was and that she should come back.
Yeah.
So
you can do better, Dave.
Yeah. So Ellen Shipley talked about how to get your record even played, it was just like payola, she said. It was just criminal what they asked of you for the DJs and stuff. And so she got out sometime in the early 80s. Her albums didn't sell that well, but they were well received. Mm-hmm. And she was sitting in Woodstock in a coffee shop, and someone came in and asked if she was Ellen Shipley. She's like, yeah. And the guy said, I really like your music. Have you thought about writing for other people? And this is Rick Knowles.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't read
Rick
that.
Knowles? Yeah. So I found that in an interview somewhere today when I probably should have been teaching a bit. So she ended up being convinced by him to write for Belinda Carlisle, and that was who they're going to be writing for.
Yeah.
This album was coming up. And basically she decided she would write it as though she was going to sing it and not think about Belinda Carlisle. And so she was in Brooklyn, I think. He's in LA. And so she's got to fly back and forth.
She bounced back across the country a bunch of times, right?
So she's I think in Brooklyn, she's at a gas station and sees behind her while she's paying, she said, I felt this need to turn around and look at the cards.
Yeah, the postcards.
That's right. She turns and sees Heaven on Earth. And so she remembers it. And when she gets to LA, she writes it on a blackboard, Heaven on Earth.
Yeah.
And then the story, do you know what happens?
Yeah, Rick Knowles goes one step further with it and said, heaven is a place on earth.
Right. I think he did that on the chalkboard. He puts the indent in and it says heaven is a place on earth.
Yeah.
So that's what they have. And they just start playing on the piano and they have the chorus right away.
Yeah. And they know right off the hop that the chorus is the thing with this song. And when the song's recorded, it starts off with that chorus.
That's right. And then they had Belinda in. They did the chorus, the verses, everything. Mm-hmm. And she's gone back and forth and fixed the song a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And she plays it for the sound engineer. Did you hear about this?
Yes. Yeah.
What's his name? All right, I got his name here. I want to get this right. Shelly Yakis. And he listened to it and said, your verse is not as strong. It needs to be hookier. It needs to really capture the same emotion that you have in your chorus, but explain it to us. I love that. And that's such a succinct way of capturing what this song is, and then also what the song needed to be.
Yes, yeah.
Because the whole point is like, what does it really mean that heaven is on earth, right? That's the whole point. And so she ends up rewriting the whole thing, like bridge, verses, leaves the chorus, but rewrites all those other parts. Goes to LA. They have to get Belinda back in. And
to re-record it.
Yeah, she's worried that Belinda Carlisle won't want to do this. But Belinda was all for it, heard it, said, yep, this sounds way better. Did a full re-record.
Yeah, and that's what we end up with today.
Oh, yeah. And then you have, of course, Ellen Shipley is the voice you hear when you hear the backing vocals for Heaven is a Place on Earth. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? The one harmonizing the main vocal. So
that's Ellen Shipley.
Yeah, that's Ellen Shipley. It's not actually Belinda Carlisle redoing it. So it sounds close, but it's her voice.
Yeah.
And then you hear the others doing the oohs and all that. They might have sped it up a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But there we go. That's the story of how the song is put together. So they know the song is kind of perfect. Everything has been set up so that it will hook you in. And you got the chorus that hooks you in. The verse hooks you in. The bridge hooks you in. The instruments, every part of this is a hook.
There is some bonkers stuff that goes on with this song.
And the chorus is the best place to start, since that's where the song starts.
Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
What a confident start, and kind of rare to have the chorus begin the whole thing.
Yeah, there's no real instrumentation at the beginning. Like, it doesn't lead in with instrumentation. You get those vocals right away.
Right. And there's been talk that this is one of the first songs to really do this. There was some other songs around the same time that did this.
Yeah.
Which I have ready for my mixtape.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know if you know about it at all, but I'll save it for then. But this kind of taught pop songwriters, you can put your big hook right away.
Right away, yeah.
And this, of course, works really well in the Spotify era.
Yeah, exactly, because everyone just wants that thing.
Which would explain why the number of listens on Spotify is insane. And also, I think it's a Black Mirror episode helps it out too. Meaning-wise, we have, do you know what that's worth? Kind of a strange turn of phrase. Oh, we didn't read it.
We didn't read it, yeah.
Okay. Well, we just heard it. Let me just read it over just to make sure we caught all the words, because I actually didn't know all the words when I first heard it as a kid. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. Well, it's the what's worth part.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Do you know what that's worth? Heaven is a place on earth. I think it rhymes really distinctly, like
yes.
It's a special type of rhyme.
Yeah.
But it feels like it must be maybe a turn of phrase in Brooklyn that I don't know from the 80s. Hey, man, what's it worth?
Yeah, I don't understand that opening question, but
you do understand the answer.
I do understand the answer, yeah. I love that line. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. So if love comes first in heaven, we're going to make love come first down on earth. So that's how we're going to do this. We're just going to love.
Right. And we're going to make it happen. I like that for heaven to come down to earth, or for earth to become heaven, you have to make it so.
Yes, it's very action oriented.
Yeah. It's like having a SMART goal.
I was just thinking that, yes.
That's right. We've come back to the SMART goals.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I really like in that opening chorus, though, is because it's all vocals, basically. But there's a couple of little things instrumentally that happens in it.
Yes.
There's this really neat bass drop in there.
Bit of a fretless bass sound to me, going back to the Sade. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. And then there's a couple of little drum hits that are in there as well. But it just kind of helps to accent the whole thing because it comes off with that, ooh, baby, a little bit ethereal, heavenly, almost angelic, right?
Right.
But those sounds grounds it back down to earth.
Yeah. And there is that 80s gloss in there.
Yeah.
And the vibrato is really strong in her voice.
I was going to say that. That was the one note that I made is there's a lot of vibrato in her voice because there's almost a fragility, like a little bit of a waver, it sounds like. It's not that it's ever going to break, but it just sort of vibrates there.
Right.
Which is, I suppose, what vibrato means.
Right. And that happens a lot more in the verses, I guess, now that I come to think of it, which we'll get to. But I know if you hear the tracks isolated, because they have it on the deluxe edition where they took out the instruments. And her voice kind of like booms back and forth where it's like, okay, whatever they've been doing to the little knobs on the machine, that the
soundboard?
Yeah, there you go. The soundboard. Whatever they're doing on there is making that voice boom all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done, Bill, on the soundboard vocabulary.
Comment?
Yeah. What a fail. Okay. From there, we get that instrumentation. Right?
Yeah.
It does more than that, but
A little bit more.
yeah. Why don't we just hear a little bit of it here? Question for you, Frank. Would you say that's almost Bon Jovi-esque? You ever think about that?
No, but I am now.
There's something there. You Give Love a Bad Name, just spoiler, because I'm going to put it on my mixtape, begins with him giving the chorus.
Oh, yes.
A cappella.
Yeah.
And then you get your...
the rock and guitar.
And so this has the rock and guitar here as well. It has me thinking that Bon Jovi is way more pop than I realized.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, yes.
Yeah, which is probably why he was so accessible to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Jovi-esque instrumentation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, verse 1. When the night falls down, I wait for you and you come around, and the world's alive with the sounds of kids on the street outside.
When the night falls down, I wait for you as you come around, and the world's alive with the sound of kids on the street outside.
I kind of like that imagery because as we're recording, the night is falling down. So it's getting dark outside. So here's Belinda waiting for her best guy. It's not a question that he's going to show up. She's waiting in anticipation, knowing that he's going to show up. And when he shows up and the world's alive with the sound of kids on the street outside. So this is that sort of coming together, which makes that heaven on earth with them being together.
And it's a very innocent scene because the night's falling down. She's waiting for him to come around. So it feels like she's outside, but kids are playing outside. So it's a safe area where kids are fine to play.
Exactly.
Right? And so when you hear night falling, sometimes you think vampires.
With Dracula's, yeah.
Right. But here, there are no Draculas.
No, exactly.
And that vibrato is very strong in this, right? So it's hard to get it down, but when the night falls down.
Okay, I thought maybe you're having a stroke there for a second.
She can pull that off. I don't know how people learn. I don't think they learn vibrato. They just are able to do it.
do it, right? Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It adds that little element of fragility to the voice.
Right. But it's raspy enough that she's kind of tough too.
Yes.
There's all these aspects to it. And it's a pretty sounding voice.
Yeah. And that raspiness shows up in the pre-chorus, which we jump into here.
Okay. When you walk into the room, you pull me close and we start to move. And we're spinning with the stars above. And you lift me up in a wave of love.
When you walk into the room, you pull me close, now we start to move, and we're spinning with the stars above, and you lift me up in a wave of
there's that confidence of this couple being together. There's no questions at all. This is a song just about love and then making it heaven on earth.
Right.
You get that raspiness in her voice or that little guttural
Yeah. Kind of a growl.
growl at the end of the pre-chorus. And we're spinning around with the stars above, and you lift me up in a wave of love. I'm trying to remember how it
I want to
goes
hear
exactly.
you try to go for the ground.
And we're spinning with the stars. Nope, that's not
Yeah,
it.
you gotta be.
It sounds like a Muppet.
No, I can't pull it off. The Belinda Muppet doll.
Yeah, but you get that in spinning, and then at the end, and you lift me up in a wave of love.
You got it there.
Did I get it?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But you get that passion there.
And they're spinning with the stars above, so they're still outside. Maybe they're on one of those playground things that spins.
No, they can't be outside when you walk into the room. Maybe, because heaven's a place on earth now, because when he walks into the room, that's when heaven becomes a place on earth. So the room changes into the outdoors because there's stars and all of that around.
Right. Oh, like the old Mesopotamian version of heaven, which is the sky.
Or like a college dorm room where they put those glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling.
Or a 2-year-old's bedroom.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Very good. All right. All right, well...
We are really good at analyzing.
We are. This song moves really fast in terms of it doesn't take a break, right? It just keeps moving faster and faster towards this chorus.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's wasting time or missing out on something. It's just really efficient in taking us there. And here's that chorus again. Well, we know it, but it somehow sounds even more full. Well, I guess it does because it's not...
Yeah, because it has all the instrumentation going on with it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Baby, do you know that's right? Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
I feel like the instrumentation is bright.
Yes.
That's the word I have here. And everything I hear, especially in the background, coming up into verse 2, you can hear these jingly sounds. Not jangly, but jingly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you hear keys that are played at just the right volume. Not volume, but what's it when it's higher sounding? Like up
Volume.
Yeah, I don't know. They have settings on the keyboard, so it's more of those...
Voluminous.
Yeah, that's not the word, but that's okay. I think people know what I'm talking about. It's
Enloudened.
yeah, that's not it. It's higher, but not louder higher, but it's like you sing like a
different
C.
tone?
No, C, you go up the scale. Yeah, it's a all
Key
right.
change?
All right, then never mind. Let's just read this chorus here. When I feel alone, I reach for you and you bring me home. When I'm lost at sea, I hear your voice and it carries me.
When I feel alone, I reach for you and you bring me home. When I'm lost at sea, I hear your voice and it carries me.
So this is the first instance where we get a little bit of doubt in there.
Right.
But there's a confidence in that doubt where she's singing, when I feel alone or when I'm lost at sea, I know that this is the answer. You are the answer.
Right. So even though there will be conflict in her life, so to speak,
Yeah.
troubles, when I feel alone, she's brought home
Yes.
when she reaches for him. And then when I'm lost at sea, she hears the voice and it carries her. So she's no longer lost because the voice is like that lighthouse.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the way verse 2 is written.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
All right. And then the pre-chorus, you get these extra sounds. You get the oohs coming in.
Yes.
It's a little different from the other pre-chorus. By little, I mean it's totally different
Well,
words.
completely different words, yes.
That's right. In this world, we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore.
That was really good.
Thank you.
In this world we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore.
So in this pre-chorus, I love that they're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. I
Yeah.
love that life is called a miracle. but also that you're just beginning to understand it is it because they're in love and now suddenly life has become miraculous? Or is this more science?
My thinking is it would be science because Thomas Dolby.
Do you know all the most interesting parts about the current evolutionary theory, Belinda?
Now you're making me think that I want it to be more miraculous,
Right.
which I think this is. I think it's a miraculous song.
It is the song is miraculous.
Yes.
And that it exists and feels like it was not made in the machine because there's two people who wrote this song, but they pulled it off with the community's help, where you have the sound engineer giving advice. You have them pushing each other to get it just right.
Just right. And then when it was just right, to come back and make it even just righter.
Right. All right. I'm not even going to try to discuss the grammar of that, but I get the feels. And so the miracle of living is this phrase that I love. And it's in the world of love, everything feels like a miracle.
Yeah. And then the baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore. So he's quelling her fears.
And it comes back to what we heard in verse 2, right? When I'm alone, when I'm lost at sea. And then I used to be afraid, but I'm not afraid anymore. Because she's not alone.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Man, it's good.
It is such a fantastically written pop song.
Right. And our good friend who we have yet to meet, Tom Bryan, who writes for Stereo Gum, we've talked about him a lot. He wrote on this song, and he quoted this guy named Chris Melanthe, who has another podcast.
We don't talk about that too much, no.
But Chris Melanthe is the one who brought up the Bon Jovi thing. And Tom Bryan, in another interview, said this whole song slams, which I love. It doesn't slap, it slams. And this next chorus totally slams.
Yes.
Baby, do you know that's where heaven is a place on earth? They say in heaven, love comes first. We'll make heaven a place on earth. Heaven is a place on earth.
Now, there's not a lot to say other than, holy cow, every time I hear it, it gets better and better.
Yes, absolutely it does.
And then we have one of two interludes to a bridge, like a bridge to a bridge. Would this interlude almost be like a bridge?
Yeah, I don't understand, unless it's just like one large expansive bridge, and this is like phase one of the bridge.
It's like driving to Prince Edward Island. You go across that big bridge.
Yeah, the Confederation Bridge. We talk about that a lot.
Right. Now, do they have another bridge that you can go from Prince Edward Island to, say, Newfoundland?
No, I think that's a bridge too far.
Right. I think they wrote a book about that,
I think so, too, yeah.
Okay, so they only have one bridge.
Yes.
So you can only go into Prince Edward Island. You can't...
No, you can leave Prince Edward Island. You just go back to Nova Scotia.
You got to turn around.
Yeah.
Or take a plane.
Yeah.
Or a boat.
Or a submarine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, apparently the U-boats were up that way. Did you hear that? Up to St. Lawrence, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've heard
World
about
War
that.
II. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't think we'd talk about U-boats here.
Yeah, this is a very World War II heavy song, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's kind of like our own sort of interlude here. Now, this interlude, not like World War II, is much more gentle, but still has all the instruments going, but brightly gentle.
Yes.
Heaven, heaven. And then they say it the third time, I think.
You weren't going to sing it the third time?
Well, I don't know if I can hit it. Heaven.
I think you did it.
And then we go into bridge. It's still the same pre-chorus, isn't it? In this world, we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living, but there's a little something extra, a little more Belinda spice on there.
Yeah, there's a little oomph put on this.
In this world we're just beginning to understand the miracle of living. Baby, I was afraid before, but I'm not afraid anymore.
And then we get into that tertiary bridge or break or interlude or whatever you want to call it. But that drum fill and that break is bonkers awesome.
It's amazing. It's so intense.
Yeah.
And it sets you up for possibly, according to, I think there's an article, I couldn't find it, it was in one of those 404 things on the internet where you click on it. But there's a guy who claimed that this is one of the greatest key changes in pop rock history.
It's an amazing key change.
So you go up, but you're going up to heaven. We're already there, and now we're like seventh heaven.
Or we've been sitting at heaven on earth, which is an amazing place, but the key change takes us up to heaven.
I love it.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, because they give you the chorus, and then heaven is a place on earth repeats. And we got the mamas and the papas, Diane Warren, Ellen Shipley, Belinda Carlisle, and whoever else singing along. Unbelievable.
It's bonkers good. Yeah. It is such an amazing song. And like I said, it's just this perfectly written pop song. And it has an equally amazing video.
It is one weird video.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
I was wondering, I no longer think it's terrifying, but I really had to get over the little kids wearing the face masks, holding up the glow in the dark or the lighted globes.
Yeah. So what that really reminded me of is, Bill, how familiar are you with early 90s professional wrestling?
Fairly.
Do you remember the character, the Repo Man?
Yes.
Because he wore a gray shirt just like they're wearing gray shirts. He was wearing a little mask like they're wearing masks.
Oh, man.
All I could think about was early 90s professional wrestling.
And they've repossessed all these Earths.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I just thinking it looks so sinister. When I see that, it just feels like something in Bad Dreams.
That's one portion of it. The other portion is it's just Belinda Carlisle singing, and it's close-ups of her face, and you can almost see the little wavers in her voice, in her vibrato when she's singing.
Yeah.
That's a really neat part, other than the Repo Man part.
Yeah, terrifying. And they filmed it at like an amusement park, and it was one of those Gravitron rides.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you see the sort of the lights kind of spinning around her.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I mean, I don't know exactly where they filmed it all. I mean, it must be on sound stages, but for the context of the film's narrative, do you think that there are a lot of health and safety problems with this? Especially if Belinda Carlisle's running around the Gravitron. She shouldn't be anywhere near it.
Yeah, the 80s were a different time. Health and safety really didn't matter so much back then.
Yeah. There is a confidence in Belinda Carlisle when she looks at the camera and sings. Yeah. And a young Bill Hauser, I think I'm only 10 or 11 when I see this video, may have been smitten. Might have been one of my first kind of crushes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The I Get Weak video in particular.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we don't need to go into detail into that.
Yeah, my first crush was Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
All right. Well, I feel a lot more normal. Thanks. That's good. Okay. So
we should also mention that the video was directed by Diane Keaton.
Right. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And so she also directed I Get Weak.
Yes, that's right.
And so she did a couple other TV shows, I think, in the early 90s as well.
Yeah.
But it's strange. The video is strange. So there's parts of it that really do work. Like those glow-in-the-dark globes are really cool. And when you see them bouncing in the water, when the kids are moving them, it kind of throws me off. Like the kids look like
the Repo Man from WWF.
Or they look like birds, like weird-looking human birds to me. Or professional wrestlers. Sure, Frank. Okay. But the globes themselves are cool. Yeah. I like that. I like how Belinda Carlisle is kind of singing to the screen. Yeah. And there's certain shots that are very striking to an 11-year-old Bill Hauser.
Yeah.
And then you also have her husband kind of making out with her, and it just doesn't look like it's working to me. She's laughing the whole time, and they keep trying to like either slow down or speed it up. Yeah. So you can't see how awkward their lovemaking is. Yeah. For lack of a better term. Although I think that's part of it is they're having fun. It's not Justify My Love.
And her husband is Morgan Mason, who is the son of a British actor.
Oh yeah, James Mason.
Yeah.
He played Watson on Christopher Plummer's Murder by Decree.
Oh.
Yeah. He's been in, of course, a lot more than that. But Yeah, and he also was a big like supporter and ended up working for Ronald Reagan.
That's right.
So
yes.
you have Belinda Carlisle, who's this big time punk in the Germs, which is this seminal punk band.
Yeah.
And I tried watching a Germs video. I don't know.
Yeah,
Punk's
couldn't
not
do
really. It's tough. I know it's important to somebody.
Yeah.
Not this guy.
Not you.
But the fact that she goes from that to Ronald Reagan's assistant or whatever is this like punk to yuppie shift. Tom Bryan talks about this as well. That is just amazing that someone could do a transformation like this.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
And in some places in the wrestling world, they may call it a heel or face turn, depending how you feel about punk and yuppies.
Yes.
So, but it is incredible. I mean, apparently she supported Bernie Sanders recently, so she's not so diehard Republican.
No, it doesn't sound that way.
No. But either way, he's there and they're having a good time. And at the end, when they're kind of kissing and stuff, Diane Keaton speeds it up.
Yeah, that's right.
It's weird because I think she knows it's not working.
Yeah. It's like, let's just hustle through this. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I ever want to watch that video again.
Yeah, I'm okay with maybe catching it once or twice again, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find it.
I love the idea of you just catching the video. Maybe
maybe next time I'm watching Much Music. They show videos still, right?
I feel like they showed I Get Weak a lot more, but I think that's when I was just getting to music is when the second single got released.
Yeah.
All right, music video, check. Did you look at the top 10?
Yes.
There were a ton of songs from that year that went to number 1 that I didn't realize did.
Yeah.
And when I see that top 10, well, I only saw the top 5, so you have the 10 for me.
I have the top 10.
Let's hear it.
So it peaked December 5th, 1987. Now, for context, this is 3 days before my father's 36th birthday.
Oh, 36, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Number 10, Don't You Want Me by Jody Watley.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Number 9, The One I Love by REM.
Wow, I forgot that went up to number 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Emotional by Whitney Houston at number 8.
Oh, man. I bet that went to number 1 at some point. What an incredible
it was climbing
song.
up the charts at this point. We'll Be Together by Sting at number 7.
I remember that. I'm trying not to sing it. We'll be together tonight. They played a lot on CBC, like Video Hits or Good Rockin' Tonight.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard that a lot.
Yeah. You said that you're going to try not to sing it, but you didn't try very hard.
No.
Not to.
I didn't really mean it.
No.
Okay. All right.
Number 6 is Shake Your Love by Debbie Gibson.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. We haven't talked Debbie Gibson yet.
We have not, no.
Oh, because we have to pick it.
Yep.
Only in My Dreams, Shake Your Love.
Yeah. Lost in Your Eyes.
Lost in Your Eyes. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right.
Is This Love by Whitesnake at number 5.
Beautiful song.
Shoulda Known Better by Richard Marx at 4.
Rocky Richard Marx. I love it.
3, Faith by George Michael.
On its way up the charts. It's going to take over next week.
Mm-hmm. The previous week's number 1, I've Had the Time of My Life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes at number 2.
Can you believe that song was only number 1 for 1 week?
Yes.
Like, I thought that would have been number 1 for like 9 weeks.
I know, right? Yeah.
And Faith is just about to take over like everything.
Everything, yes.
All right.
And then, obviously, number 1 is Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle.
Interestingly, So Emotional was mentioned. I'm not sure if Boy Meets Girl wrote So Emotional. I know they wrote I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yes.
And for this album, Heaven is a Place on Earth, she actually did a demo of Waiting for a Star to Fall.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we talked about that, didn't we? Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
right.
can hear a demo of Waiting for a Star to Fall when they're trying to find songs.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell this album's solid when she rejects Waiting for a Star to Fall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So, Bill.
Yeah?
What part of this song brings you the most joy?
That's really difficult because the whole entire song brings me joy.
Yeah.
So, trying to think through what makes me really, really happy, I have to give 2 things. The ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear the ooh, it's so compelling and makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And the drum fill and the
Yes.
instrumentation.
In that break?
It's so exciting because you know you're going to get to the ooh.
Yeah.
But it's the ooh. It's the ooh.
Okay. I think I'm the drum break.
Yeah.
I think it's just so amazing. I don't know if we really talked about how great it is.
It just builds up to that, right?
Yeah.
Everything's moving towards it. And when the drums come in, like, whoa,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
could they get it any better?
Yeah, exactly. How are you finding ways to make this song even better?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, there are other versions of the song. Other people have covered it. It's been used a lot in the media.
Yes.
There was a version from 2016 that Belinda Carlisle did, which was a kind of a really scaled back version.
Yeah.
Sounds nice, but I have a tough time because the original is so iconic.
So good. Yes.
I don't really want to hear another version of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to break into it with a big drum fill.
Exactly. The only way that version could really match up is if it's really low key and subdued, but then that drum fill comes and that ending chorus, you just explode with this amazing orchestral choir, massive ending chorus.
Yeah. I hope she does that in concert.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the media here.
Yep.
Did you see Romy and Michelle's high school reunion?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Do you remember when this was playing, when they had a triumphant helicopter exit?
Oh, is that when it played?
Yeah,
Okay.
All right. Harold and Kumar escaped from Guantanamo Bay. Did you see that?
I have not seen that one, no.
Do you watch The Handmaid's Tale?
I have not, but I heard that it's on that as well.
And when they described when she sings it or whispers it, I don't really want to watch it. There's also in Black Mirror, there's an episode.
Yes.
Now, I haven't seen a lot of Black Mirror because it creeps me out so much. But apparently it's really powerful.
Yes. If I remember correctly, yeah. And speaking of creepy, James McAvoy sings a really creepy rendition of it in a horror film from 2024 called Speak No Evil.
Did you see that one?
No, I have not.
No.
But I want to now because I want to hear this creepy version. Where do you think you would hear this song?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the best place to hear this is at a little kid's birthday party. It should just be playing like midway through. Just turn it up.
I was thinking like on a bowling date.
Totally. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
And it would be with a little kid's birthday party beside you.
Yeah. And they're just obnoxious and annoying.
Yeah. But you're showing that you find them fun.
Yeah.
To appeal to the person you're dating.
Yeah.
Who's like, oh, this is somebody I could be with.
Unless she hates kids, and then I'll just like be yelling at them.
Right. But no, I prefer it's like, oh, it's Uncle Frank. And they all stamp you in the feet like the kids do at church.
Yeah.
Do you have a mixtape, Frank?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a feeling I know what your theme is.
Yeah, totally.
Because you already told me.
Yes.
My mixtape are songs about joy and happiness.
Oh, nice.
But there's a little added spin on this. So I want you to guess it at the end of the mixtape.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm going to start with Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest.
Great.
Brighter Than the Sun by Colby Calais.
Oh, okay.
Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves.
Yes.
Almost Paradise, Mike Reno and Ann Wilson.
Okay. Great song. But I'm just now trying to figure out this theme. Okay.
And we are finishing it all off with Shining Star by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right. So we got light in each of these, except for Almost Paradise. Because Dancing in the Moonlight, right? And then there was like all the Sunshine ones.
Yep.
Almost Paradise is throwing me off. I thought they were celestial objects.
I named them celestial places.
Oh, okay.
Moonlight, sun, paradise.
Oh, right. Paradise is there.
Star. Yep.
And Paradise Lost is Earth. But Earth is found because Belinda found love. And it's all come together.
Okay, you sounded like Heathcliff Huxtable explaining something to me there.
Sorry.
You see, Rudy!
Oh.
Just the best Cosby impersonation.
Yeah, that was amazing. All right, so mine is songs that begin with the chorus.
Yes.
And they have kind of a quasi acoustic sense to them, or a cappella sense, but none of them really do. You still have a little bit of instrumentation. Oh, okay. I just thought of one off the top of my head. You know what? Before this came out, there was one. The Longest Time begins with them saying The Longest Time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my number one, which is a bonus.
Okay.
Rare to get a bonus at the beginning.
Yeah.
But so there you go.
Well, just like a chorus at the beginning of a song.
Very good. Exactly. It all came together. Well done, Frank.
Yeah.
Good synthesis. Okay. You Give Love a Bad Name, Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Everybody, Backstreet Boys.
Yes.
And then Tearing Up My Heart, NSYNC. I don't really like that song. I like the Backstreet Boys better, so I feel NSYNC is kind of like the competition I don't want to talk about. Next up, a band I do love. Well, I love Hate, but from an album I love and a song I love. Enid, Bare Naked Ladies. Now, there is an opening about something else, but the things you really hear on the radio version is the chorus.
Yeah.
And then Bringing it back to Canada one more time. Whose bed have your boots been under, Shania Twain?
Nice. That's fantastic.
There's my mixtape.
A little bit of CanCon there.
Are you familiar with any of the other songs from the Go-Go's?
Well, I mean, there's the big ones, right? Like Vacation.
Oh, I mean from the people after they left the Go-Go's.
No.
Okay, Frank, I'm going to play a song for you that you haven't thought about in maybe 40 years.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's such a rush just being with you. Down in the rush hour. Ooh, you send me. You take it to the rush hour. Ooh, you send me. You got me in the rush hour.
Did that bring you back to Prudham's Landing?
Oh, yeah, that is one of those songs that I love every time I hear, but I have no idea what the song is.
Yeah, so that's Rush
awesome.
Hour, Jane Wideland.
Yeah.
And This Belongs. Roller skating at Prudham's Landing.
Prudham's Landing, yes.
But Heaven's a Place on Earth could easily be heard going down a water slide.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, summertime vibes.
Yes, this is definitely a summertime song.
Oh, man, like early summer, you're just out of school.
Yeah.
Right, as a kid, you're lying in your backyard at the grass looking up at the sky.
Everything is open to you at the beginning of summer, right?
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Such a great song.
Thank you, Heather. This is a great choice.
This was a fantastic choice.
Heaven is a place on earth. Heaven is a place on earth. Heaven is a place on earth.
We want to thank you for joining us for our walkthrough Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. And once again, we want to thank Heather Taylor for bringing this up. We have heard this from people that we should do a Belinda Carlisle song, but this really got things moving. And we just want to reach out to our listeners. We would love to hear from you. I think we have plans of starting a newsletter.
Yeah, I think we've had that plan for a couple of years.
I'm going to put it in the show notes with our email. People can send us an email, and I'm going to create a newsletter.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. That's fantastic.
And we'd love to hear your requests. And, if it all works out, we would love to put them into an episode.
Absolutely. That'd be fantastic. And here on Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we will take those requests and we'll lift them up in a wave of love.
You've been listening to our little piece of heaven on earth at Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures.